Hiya everybody, it's Raya here. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm really excited because I'm finally doing a flip through of my June to July spreads in my Hobonichi Weeks TN. Usually what I do is I would do a flip through of all my Lifebooks, but this time around I thought I'd focus on my Hobonichi Weeks and give an update of how I've been using this. Sorry, I'm like fiddling around. It's been a while, so I just do a quick recap. I've got 3 inserts in here, 2 Paper Penguin Co. inserts. The first one is for long form journaling or stream of consciousness journaling. The second one is for bullet journaling, and the third one is my Hobonichi Weeks. I would like to take a flip through of my stream of consciousness journaling. However, it is quite private and lots of thoughts in there that have not been processed, so they're quite raw and, as I said, private, so I'm not going to do that. But I will take you through a flip through of my bullet journal insert. And if you see me do this, it's because my phone camera is up here, so I'm like seeing if everything is on frame. But anyway, so in June, I started off with my goals tracker, and how I planned this was I was going to plan my goals in advance and do mini steps or goal steps, but what I ended up doing instead was just tracking the progress I made towards the goals that I had set for myself that month. So yeah, here we have my symptoms tracker as well as my health log. I really enjoyed this because I got to track what symptoms I felt when, and then to see if it correlated with any other symptoms and such. And then in the health log, I kind of just noted down the triggers of the symptoms that I felt and just kind of wrote down any observations that I noticed about how I was feeling that day. Okay, so the next 2 spreads are my gratitude and win spreads, and I think it's a really great practice to be finding the good in every day, even though sometimes it's a little bit hard to do that, as well as finding patting yourself on the back about big or small wins you might have achieved that day. Yep, so I'm a naturally pessimistic person, so this has really helped train my brain to look into the good of things in every day. And then I also have my intentions and my goals in here. The reason I put it in here and not in the front is because I thought that if my inbox was on the next side, I would be looking at this way more often. I'd be more exposed to this and therefore remind myself, okay, this was the intentions that I set for myself and my goals at the beginning of the month. And it did sort of work, but I kind of just instead went to my inbox, wrote down what I needed to do, and then move along. I've forgotten to read this every now and again. And then now we get into the daily pages as well as my weekly spread. So how I would set it up was that I do a weekly overview on the left, and then the next couple of pages would be reserved for daily logging. And this has worked really, really well for me. As you can see, I daily logged and rapid logged pretty much every day. And then I tried to do some habit tracking here. And I said bad habits because I just wanted to be more aware of the bad habits that I was doing. Because the first step to change is being aware of what it is that we actually do on a daily basis. Because if we don't know what it is we do, how do we know what to change? You know what I mean? So yeah, I tried to do some 3 major task goals and then some things that deadlines that I needed to do for that week. And then I would have this spot here just to do an overview of events for that week, as well as deadlines of tasks that I needed to do that week. So yeah, that's worked quite nicely and I really enjoyed that. And these, oh, I forgot to mention, these are MU print-on stickers, and they're really nice. They don't bulk up my pages at all. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that that's all I use for decoration stickers anyway. I use character stickers for every other sticker, but anyway, I'm rambling. So yeah, that's how it's just been looking. And as you can see here, I've kind of found this to be a little bit useless now. I think it was because so on the 1st of June I actually received my pocket Filofax mold-in, and this whole month I've been experimenting, well, the whole month of June and July I was experimenting with this little beauty. And so I realized that I like doing my weekly and monthly spreads in this, and so I no longer needed this. However, I still really enjoy doing my daily logs, so I continued on with that, but I stopped setting up monthly spreads in here. However, the problem I came up with was that because I was doing weekly and monthly planning in here in my pocket mold-in, I still found myself doing daily pages in my Weeks TN, and it was quite bad because then I was having to refer to 2 different systems on the daily, and I didn't really like that. And so what I did was I purchased a passport insert and just did this little thing so I could slip it back here. I'm so sorry if I'm being so rambly, but yeah, I just continued on doing my rapid logs here, and I haven't really decorated it much, but it works for what I need it to be. And so yeah, really easy to keep up with. And I don't need to decorate or anything. And the fact that it's with my organizer, my planner, makes it really easy to go into. And this is my everyday carry now, so this is what I take with me, and all that I need to know is in here. So now I don't need to take this plus this with me. Now I can just take this one, which is great. So yeah, that was my pocket mold-in. And then lastly, my Hobonichi Weeks. If you remember from my previous video, I ended May finding out about how much I like doing weekly reflections in my memory keeper. So I continued on doing that same thing in June. So I was doing memory keeping, my sleep, my observations, my just tracking sleep, screen time, as well as my mood, and then a weekly reflection here. And I really enjoyed how this looked, and how this whole practice of finishing the day off with, you know, writing out my memory and highlights for the day and everything. So yeah, so that's how it's looked. That's my birthday there. And then I think I went into July, yeah, with the same kind of spread. Nothing really changed too much. The only time it changed was in the 2nd week of July. I felt quite uninspired or a little bit bored with this spread, and I was wanting to do something new. And so yeah, I didn't keep up with this. I tried to do something new here. Thought, you know, the weather tracking would be cute. Didn't really keep up with that either, so tried to change it, and that's how I came up with this spread. I thought that I did a little bit of brainstorming. I was like, what is it actually that I do want to track, and what do I want to be mindful of? You know, I noticed recently that there's a huge correlation between my motivation or energy levels, my productivity, as well as my mood. So I try to find a way to kind of find or figure out how I could keep a track of that and how I could record that. And so that's how I came up with this graph, and then still wanted to keep a track of my sleep, screen time, and my vitamin D intake. So I did that. I wanted to see if I wanted to track these three, I mean. And, you know, I didn't end up keeping this in the next week, and I'll show you that in a minute. And yeah, so I thought this looked too messy, and so I changed one of them to be like a bar graph, and I quite like the look of that. And I only kept up, I only tracked these three things, my sleep time, sleep hours, screen time, and my vitamin D intake. And then I kept up with my observations for the day. However, I missed my weekly reflection more. Oh, sorry about that. I missed my weekly reflection a lot, so I decided to just drop this and then, yeah, do this instead. And that's worked out really well. In this column here, I had intended to, you know, do what I used to do, which was my hours and observations here. But I actually quite like doing like the highlight of the day here, which is nice. And so that's how I've been doing it. And that's this week. And yeah, and this was my gratitude and wins spread for July as well. And then I think I wanted to quickly talk about my lessons from One Book July and how that actually impacted this week, because this was the week where I was like, oh, I feel uninspired by the Hobonichi Weeks a little bit. Like, I learned that I wanted to do everything in one. Like, I wanted to track and journal in one system. And so I thought about, you know, what if I tried doing it in the Hobonichi Cousin? Because the Hobonichi Cousin has, you know, the monthlies, the weekly spreads, and then the dailies. And so what I did was I pulled out my old Hobonichi Cousin from 2018. I had split it up into two because that's what I did. But yeah, so what I did was in the weeklies, I started to do what I do in my Hobonichi Weeks, which was to track my sleep, track my observations. I tracked my mood. I color-coded it this time. And I did my food intake. Did I say that? And then I tracked my gratitude and wins. So that's how it's kind of been looking like. And then I even tracked my activities for the day, what was the main thing I did throughout the day and such. And, you know, I really, really enjoyed this. And, okay, so one of the sources of my frustration, I guess, was the fact that I had so many, like, Lifebooks that I needed to update on a monthly or on a weekly or on a daily, and I had to keep reaching out to different ones, whereas I just wanted one main one to do all the things. So I just wanted one main journal to do all the things. And so this was to replace my Hobonichi Weeks, the weeklies. And then in the dailies, this was to replace my photo journal, which was my current day free. And how I've been doing that is doing my memory keeping here in this column, and then on the right side I wanted to do my journaling, so like whatever is occupying my mind for that day. And you know, I just had to go into one page. I'm not sure if I'm still making sense, but I'm rambling on a lot. But yeah, because in my Hobonichi Weeks as well, I found that, let me just quickly, I found that sometimes these one-liners doesn't do justice, like in terms of memory keeping wise. Like when I look back in my old memory keeping points, it's hard for me to remember like what I actually felt that day or what I actually was thinking that day. Whereas in the Hobonichi Cousin, I'm able to expand on it a little bit more, and I really like that. And I like the fact that I can journal about the things that I'm thinking about or the things that's been occupying my mind. And you know, I tried to do this for a week and a half, and some days I was really busy and some days I had not much going on, but I managed to keep up with it, and that was really encouraging for me. So hopefully in 2022 I get to keep up with this, and that's really encouraging for me. And so that's how things have been going on so far with my Hobonichi Weeks TN, as well as my kind of where my head's at in terms of my Lifebook systems at the moment. And I actually just remembered I have this one to show you guys. Oh my goodness. This is my creation and consumption journal. I haven't officially introduced it in this channel, but I do talk about this in my Instagram. But pretty much in my monthlies here, I track my content creation. So what videos I upload and what things I upload on Instagram as well. But I didn't really keep up with it, so I just stuffed that. And then I have been doing this as a reading journal to keep a track of my progress reading my books and stuff. But I kind of got lazy because sometimes I just read and read and read, and I can't be bothered to track how much I read and where I'm at and everything. So that was that. And so I didn't know what to do with this journal until I came across the 52 list project from Mary. She's XOXO Mary VO, I think, on Instagram. And I saw her post her first list like way back in the beginning of the year, and I was like, oh, I really want to do that too, but I didn't really know how to go about doing that, and I kind of just forgot about it. And then I saw Khan, another Instagram friend, she's been posting her lists as well, and I was like, oh, maybe I really do want to go do that. And then but I didn't want to buy another planner for that, and so that's how I was like, oh, you know what, why don't I just use what I have and do something. So that's what I did. So I started to do this list. I found the lists on Pinterest, but it is originally from the book by Maria Seal. And then for this one, I tried to do like a word of the day, but it was It wasn't really a thing that I was looking forward to doing every day. And then what I started to do instead was do a verse of the day. This was cool, but I wasn't happy with the way it looked. Like it was outside the boxes and it was just a little bit messy. And so I didn't stick with that. Continued on with the list. What I do pretty much is I just do like a random topic from the list, and yeah, so I don't go by the weeks. But yeah, and then I started to do what's it called? Jesus Journal Junkies daily scripture of the week kind of thing, daily scripture for the month, and I really liked how that's turned out. So this month the topic is on grace, the grace of God, and so we've got this. So what I did was I printed out like the post that she made, and then so I just look at that every day to do that. I haven't done this list yet, but yeah. So that's where we're at with that. And in the back, I'm really poor at explaining. I'm so sorry, but I hope you're still following along. In the back, I've got my books to read, content ideas, some notes when I was more motivated to keep up with my notes. And then when I gave up, what I just did pretty much is just do a review of the books that I've read. And I quite prefer this, in all honesty. So yeah, that has been what's been going on. If you've stuck around for this long, thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye!